So as we get into the episode, we're back at Frieren's jail cell, and when the guillotine's assassin looks to kill her, he uses a magic spell, a wire, to wrap around her neck. Frieren is trapped. Surprising to the assassin, she doesn't die. And that's because she focuses all her mana on her neck area. Dart, the assassin, gets frustrated, and after going back and forth with Frieren, he looks to use his ultimate attack move. He then tightens the wire around her neck, and as he goes for the kill, to his surprise, because Frieren uses her magic to chop off his arm, he gathers himself, he lets off another attack. She takes off his other arm. She lands on him, and as he begs for his life, she uses her amazing power to exorcise him. After the scene, we go to Frieren and Stark. They're eating, and out of nowhere, Frieren tells Stark, she says, hey, we should petition Graf Granard to release Frieren. She explains that it's a matter of time before the demons destroy this village. And with that said, she says we need to release Frieren so she could kill him. Stark agrees. He said that's our only option because we're not strong enough to beat the demons, especially Lugner. Suddenly Stark gets nervous and shaky because he's scared of Lugner the demon. He says he's so powerful he didn't even look at us. The only person he was worried about is Frieren, and that scares him. Stark says if we approach Lugner, he'll be with Graf and the rest of his guys. The worst case, we'll have to fight him. Frieren says, well, that shouldn't stop us. She would say Frieren and the hero group wouldn't stop. Stark would agree. And after mustering up some courage, he says, I don't want to let my master down. I can't be scared and stop here. Let's go. As we go to the next scene, the anime highlights Lugner the demon. He's talking to one of his subordinates about Dart, the assassin that got killed by Frieren. He says he can sense that he's already dead. And as they're talking, Graf Granard walks in. He informs him that Frieren has escaped. And not only that, one of the guards was beheaded. He questions Lugner the demon. He says, hey, where's your man at? He's missing. Lugner, like a demon, acts oblivious. He says, well, he's just out somewhere. Graf Granard doesn't buy it. He says, hey, when we took down Frieren, she could have easily killed one of our guards, but she didn't. To me, it seems like Grant doesn't trust Lugner. He knows something suspicious is up. He presses Lugner more and says, hey, don't lie to me. Where is your man? And as his guards point their swords at Lugner, the demon bites his hand. He starts to bleed. And after cultivating some type of weapon with his blood, he severs the necks of all the guards in the room. Soon afterwards, him and Garrett would have a battle. They would go 1v1. But Lugner would overwhelm him, but he wouldn't kill him. He tells Graf that he's going to use him to lift a defensive barrier on the village. As we continue, we go back to Frieren and Stark. They're walking around the village. And to Frieren's surprise, she runs into Frieren. And even with a cloak over her head, Frieren recognizes her and she says, hey, what are you doing? Frieren then tells her she was attacked by the demon Dart, and that she had no other choice but to escape. She would also tell Frieren that Dart, the demon that tried to kill her, had beheaded the guard outside of a jail cell. She would further explain that she looked like she's the one that killed the guard. She would then tell Frieren and Stark that she's going to get out of town. But as she leaves, Stark and Frieren beg her to stay. They don't think they're strong enough to defeat the demons. As the camera pans to Frieren's face, she grins. She's definitely hiding something because she says, I don't think you guys are weaker than the demons. Suddenly Stark starts to beg her. He says, no, we can't defeat it. Help us, help us. Frieren just keeps walking. But crazy enough, as she's walking, she notices something. Some miles away, they're being watched. She thinks to herself, who could this person be with so much mana? Then the anime drops a bombshell. It's actually Or the Guillotine and her army. But surprisingly, Frieren grins, and she don't seem scared at all. She says to herself, I gotta defeat her quickly. And as the scene ends, we go back to Frieren and Stark. They've broken to the mansion of Grant. And as they look for the demon Lugner, the anime would go right to Lugner in his room. He starts to say that he loves magic, and as he stares into the moon, he would start to explain the lore on how demons hone in on one type of magic. And after years and years of developing it, they make it stronger and stronger. But he said there's a problem. Every time a demon tried to invade this particular village they're in, they would be stopped. And this would be due to the legendary mage Flam. Her defensive barriers around this village are too strong. Soon the anime would move on to Frieren. She would have a flashback of her and the legendary mage Flam. The scene gives an example of how powerful her defensive barrier is. And as we come out of the flashback, we go back to the demon Lugner. He says that a genius like Flam, she's so special because even if she set up these barriers 1,000 years ago, no current spell could defeat it. It's just too good. Just this thought of Flam gets him angry. He then tells Graf Granite, he says, hey, I need you to teach me the technique how to let down these defensive barriers. He would then give him time. He say, I'm gonna let you think about it, but if you don't want to give me information, then we'll just keep torturing you. Lugner leaves, and out of the blue, Stark arrives, and he tries to rescue Grant, but he can't, because Lugner would arrive right as he's gonna do it. Lugner questions Grant. He says, hey, you know this kid? He plays dumb and says, yes, it's just a stupid kid from earlier. Soon Lugner would say, hey kid, just leave. He pays no attention to Stark. This would get Stark kind of mad, and he would attack Lugner, but it wouldn't work because the power of his blood magic stops Stark. And with him down, he starts to troll Stark. He says, I commend you on attacking me by yourself. That was brave. Stark says, by myself, huh? At this moment, I'm shocked. I think to myself, wait, where's Fern? And she arrives right in time because the most epic scene in anime happens. Fern lets loose a powerful spell, and it destroys Lugner. And as she looks to defeat him, Fern looks to finish him off. Stark says, nah, let's leave. Grant is too hurt. And as Lugner's sitting there defeated, he says that the spell she uses is a modified spell. It's essentially a demon killing spell. Soon Fern and Stark would leave. Lugner isn't worried. He tells his subordinate, we'll find him. My blood is on them. And as the anime ends, Lugner will realize something. Same magic that Fern used to defeat him, Frieren used the same one years ago, years back. And he starts to put the pieces together, and everything points towards Frieren.